I chose to take the vaccine primarily because my position as a pastor, I interact with people on a regular basis, and I wanted them to be confident as much as possible that I was not going to infect them. There's no guarantees, of course, but knowing that I had the vaccine would make them more relaxed in interacting with me and as a pastor. We as a church have made the choice to follow the rules that are laid down by the government. The Bible says that we're to obey those that are in authority above us. And so we follow those rules as a church, and I encourage them to do it as individuals as well. They have to look at it from a couple different perspectives. One is from just a personal point of view. What do they want to do? I think each person has the right to decide what happens to their body. And so there sometimes are medical issues that they're concerned about, whether it's pre-existing conditions they may have, or it's because of just that they're very careful what they put into their body, and so have to make that choice. I do remind them that if you've had a vaccine before, that kind of pulls away from the argument, I don't want this vaccine because I don't want vaccines. It's more of a choice of this vaccine rather than in general. So you have to be consistent with what you've done in the past. And I also remind them that you do have to consider the people around you, whether or not you are a danger to them, or whether or not you need to be vaccinated because of their situation. But the fact is, COVID's here, and we have to deal with it, and hopefully we can begin dealing with it from a very honest and open perspective. As a pastor, I'm going to look from the biblical perspective and what verses will apply here, whether there's a direct command that applies to the situation or whether there's a principle. And again, we talk about principles like our body and taking care of the body that God has given us, and our responsibility to make wise decisions and all. And then we'll just look at the pros and cons with that. And in some cases, in my counseling, somebody said, you know what, after talking to you, I think I need to go ahead and do it. In other cases, they still did not want to do it for their own choices, and I respect that. And I think they have to be respected for that. We have a community here where everybody's accepted, and there's not a judgment whether you got the vaccine or don't have the vaccine. That's not a question we ask. We do ask that you're considerate of the people around you. And so if you're sick, don't come. Wear the mask, keep the distance, things like that. If I choose not to get vaccinated, I do have a responsibility to be more careful, make sure people are informed I'm not vaccinated, to make sure if I'm sick at all, I don't go around to the people, to make sure I keep the mask on and keep the social distancing and do that. I've got family members not vaccinated, and we get together and we're just careful. And I think there's a balance of those two that need to happen there. And so as a pastor, I encourage that spiritual side, but it's not the only side. We've got to get better shape physically, because if I'm in good shape physically, I'm less likely to get sick and die, because most of the people who die of COVID have a pre-existing condition. If I'm better shape mentally, I can handle this process better and make better decisions. If I'm in better shape emotionally, it's going to help me to deal with things. And spiritually, I think having God and that relationship with God in your life and the confidence of that relationship helps you to make good decisions as well.